Now let's leave Northern Ireland for a moment and go up into our airship over the River Thames for a moment, looking down over the Big Bang, the City of London. It's reached now. There's huge towers that have gone up over the last few years, and some of them graceful, some of them not quite so graceful. Where the Yuppies live, the people who drive down there between 4:30 and 7:30 in the morning in their Porsches, we're told, and make a lot of money. Joan Bakewell's been talking to some of them.
In the shadow of the city's great financial institutions lurks many a trendy wine bar, just the sort of place where the city's broking fraternity have come to celebrate. And this lunchtime, they have plenty to celebrate. Early this morning, the stock market leapt up. It's steadied now, and there's now a rumour that interest rates might come down. So the champagne is flowing as the city's young brokers and commodity dealers raise many and many a glass to the prospect of making lots more money. You're celebrating?
Yes, we are, yes. I mean, financially, things going well, steady, good. Yeah, no change. Happy with that.
What difference will it make to your life?
What if the Labour had got in? Well, financially, it would have been much worse off, I would have thought. Tax-wise and everything else.
So you're going to get richer, are you?
Well, I'm not rich already.
What about you?
Very happy, same.
What reason?
Well, I think all the reasons that Tony's just stated. Financially, whatever. I mean, it's not obviously the most important, but I think it's the best thing for the country as well.
When you say financially, do you mean in the work you do?
Yes, I mean, well, both personally and in the work that we do. Good for all, I think.
But what about the unemployed and the homeless and those on the dole?
Well, I think. I think it's very difficult. I mean, if obviously Labour had got in, then the effect would have been much more immediate. But I think, personally, I don't believe that's the way to go about things. I think you have to have a strong economy, which we've got now, and that's the right way to do things.
I think if they see it through, the unemployment will go down anyway, hopefully.
All right, well, you tell me why you're so pleased then.
Why am I so pleased? Because I'm standing out here drinking champagne, basically. No, I was very happy with the result. Well, not be better off, but better than if the Labour got in.
Will you be personally better off?
Will I be personally better off?
You won't be personally better off, but you won't be worse off where you would have been if Labour had gotten in.
It's really a matter of it's really a matter of remaining in the same situation as just before the election. I mean, the main reason is that we won't be any worse off, but then we won't be really any better off. We'll just be basically the same.
Are you quite well off, do you reckon?
I think we're all reasonably okay at the moment, I think. But,
it's the safest and the steadiest the country's been for years. You keep it on an even keel.
We've never had it so good, as I think.
Harold Macmillan, where is he?
Yeah, here.
Now, Nick Clark is in Warburg's dealing room this afternoon to see how the city has been reacting over today to the election result. Nick.
Yes, David. Ian Harwood's here with me. The FT100 index at the end of the room says 35 points up. That presumably is part of the reason why the city is so cheerful today. It's all part of one great enthusiasm.
The city is indeed feeling good about Mrs Thatcher's election victory. I mean, the city had widely discounted an election victory beforehand, but certainly not a majority on the scale that Mrs Thatcher has in fact obtained. The equity market started the day very firmly, up 2%. Since then it's come back sharply, but it's now going back up again. And I think that next week it will go up further. In particular, foreign money has not yet made itself felt, but I think that foreign money will be coming in fairly shortly.
Yes, the impression we were given was that there were ships full of yen and dollars waiting offshore to flood in as soon as the victory was announced.
That was obviously an exaggeration, although I can see how people might have got that impression. I think what the election does do is that it means that there is absolutely no political risk in investing in the UK on a 4 to 5 year view, which was something which was not the case 24 hours ago. Foreigners will take cognizance of that. I think they will take stock of the UK situation, and they will then decide that with that political outlook and the market's valuation, the UK equity market and quite possibly the UK gilt market look very good value by international standards.
The argument was seriously put during the campaign that had the Conservatives not won, whole droves of people like yourself would have moved out of the city and gone elsewhere, taken their business elsewhere. Would that seriously have happened?
We'll never know. I think if there had been a hung parliament, which was the only thing that seriously exercised the city, I don't think that would have been likely. Everybody would have been very uncertain about what the new government would do, but I don't think there would have been an exodus. If the Labour Party had got in with a majority, then it would have been very much a question of what they actually proposed to do. If they did put up taxes very sharply, if they did impede people's business getting activities, perhaps people would have gone overseas.
One of the things they might have done would have been to introduce greater regulation of the city from outside rather than self-regulation. Presumably you're very relieved that you can look after your own business.
I think it's true to say that the city would rather look after its own business, but of course this does mean it's incumbent upon the city to actually do its job properly.
It doesn't mean we're going to see a lot more. Labour had got in and introduced a rather tougher outside regulation.
I don't think we're going to see any more scandals on a very large scale. I think people have learnt their lesson.
Ian Harwood, thank you very much indeed. Back to the studio.